So guys, as I said, I'm going to be referencing some articles here as well as we go through the podcast here. And as you guys know, if you've watched previous episodes of the 8 Below Show, you of course know that I like to reference some articles, give you guys a little bit of some context, and then I'll give you guys some of my opinions and such. And so that being said, when we talk about the rise, the fall, and the resurrection or supposed resurrection of Call of Duty, I want to just kind of mention a couple of things here, that being where we were and what happened, and then of course where we're possibly going or potentially going now. This article, guys, was written by Callum Inwood. This was back in September, but that being said, it's an article that was written by Real Opinions, or I should say Real Sport, but Real Opinions, guys. I'm going to skip down a little bit here to where he says, I was not brought up in this jetpack generation. I started off my Call of Duty career like many other players with arguably the best COD of all time, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Just the name brings a wave of good memories, from ninja defusing and sniping to getting out of the map on old school mode on the maps Backlot and Crossfire. From COD 4 to Black Ops 3, I loved every minute of playing each of the games that was released over the years. So he's kind of similar to me as far as what he enjoys or where he kind of started as far as Call of Duty is concerned with Call of Duty 4. Now, disagree with Black Ops 3. I was not a fan whatsoever of any of the jetpacks. The jetpack generation certainly bothered me as well. I thought that the rise, guys, was Black Ops 2, in my opinion. I thought we had the rise of Black Ops 2. Of course, Call of Duty Ghosts, you look back on Ghosts and it's like, actually, that wasn't that bad of a game considering what came next, which was, of course, Advanced Warfare, which, let's be real, guys. When Advanced Warfare first was announced, it was like, okay, it sort of looks like Halo. It sort of looks like maybe, something else like Titanfall or, one of these other games. But it looks different. So, okay, let's give it a shot. A lot of, there's been a lot of the same old with Call of Duty. So let's try something new with Call of Duty. Even though it didn't feel like Call of Duty because, obviously Call of Duty, guys, at its core is boots on the ground, gritty, intense matchups. That's all it was, and guys, and that's really, even if we're talking slightly futuristic with like the Black Ops series, I mean, a little bit of some futuristic weapons and such, it never really felt like Halo or something until we got Advanced Warfare, and that's where things changed. And where I think the biggest problem with what Activision did with going the jetpack generation, as some of us call it, what I will say about that is this. They didn't just do one game that was the jetpack game. It was the jetpack games, which is what I think people were so bothered and annoyed by. And I can honestly say that was probably what hurt the Call of Duty community more than anything. Advanced Warfare was an idea. It's like, hey, here's this idea. What do you guys think about it? But no, they didn't do that. It was, let's do this, but we also greenlit 2 more of these, that are being made as we speak. And that's what we ended up getting because, of course, Call of Duty comes out every single year. We got a Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, followed by Black Ops 3, followed by Infinite Warfare, which, of course, guys, there was significant decline from Advanced Warfare, in my opinion. When you talk about the jetpack games, I know a lot of people say Black Ops 3 was the best. In my opinion, Advanced Warfare was the best, just because I thought that, you know what, if you're go big or go home, you jump like 50 feet in the air, all of that, this unrealistic movement system, it was just kind of, the exosuits and all that, it was interesting. And then the campaign was interesting. It was kind of like its own thing. Black Ops 3, like, I liked it to a degree, but they kind of got into the specialists and such. And the specialist, that was kind of something, I know that they were trying it, but another thing that I just thought really hurt this franchise, not necessarily the specialists, but man, the jetpacks hurt this franchise so much because we just lost more and more people. Right? When you had Call of Duty Go, sure, the reception and the public reception of it was relatively rough. I mean, it wasn't It wasn't great, right? I thought that the campaign was actually pretty good. I thought it was a massive cliffhanger, which we will probably never know what happens because I don't think they're ever going to go back to Call of Duty Ghosts 2. Maybe they will, but I thought that the campaign was good. The multiplayer, I agree with most people that the multiplayer, there was only a couple of good maps. I think Strikedown was probably my favorite map, if that's what I think it was called. That was like my favorite map, and then all the other maps I didn't think were that great. So what ended up happening with Ghost, guys? We all went back to Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2. What happened with Advanced Warfare when that came out? That comes out, we're playing that for a few months, and then we all went back to the older CODs. Then comes Black Ops 3, the same thing. Rinse and repeat, guys. The Rise, which was BO2. Modern Warfare 2, BO2. I mean, you could even argue Ghost, but I don't think that was peak. Peak was BO2 without a question, and MW2, and even COD 4. Those were peaks. Then you started having the decline with Ghost, Advanced Warfare, BO3, and then Infinite Warfare was bottom of the barrel. Then we talk about the Rise, or I should say the Resurrection. But here's where it went wrong in his opinion. The franchise hasn't been as successful since Black Ops 2, with the likes of Ghosts, Advanced Warfare, and Black Ops 3 all being controversial games. Where it really changed for me was Infinite Warfare. I went from spending an average of 10 days playing time on each COD to more like 12 hours. Why? Had I burned out on playing Call of Duty? No. Infinite Warfare was just a poorly thought out and executed game. Since then, I found myself playing other games and leaving Call of Duty on the shelf, as did many others. However, after the Modern Warfare beta that was live on PlayStation 4, the feeling of gloom towards the series has suddenly disappeared, and I cannot wait to play this weekend coming. Don't get me wrong, it has its ups and downs, but the potential is unfathomable with the mechanics of the game all pointing in the right direction. Modern Warfare could be a Call of Duty savior and a return to the glory days of COD. Okay, so I'm going to agree to disagree with some of the things that he's saying here. One thing I will say is when he said Infinite Warfare, he says everything changed with Infinite Warfare. No, it didn't change with Infinite Warfare. It changed with Advanced Warfare. It started there, and that started it all. That started the problems in Call of Duty as we know it now. Those, in my opinion, were the dark ages of Call of Duty. I would especially say not so much Advanced Warfare, that started it, but I feel Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare were the dark ages of COD. Because Advanced Warfare was a new idea. I thought that, hey, you know what? This is the COD for the year. Hopefully they don't do this again. They learned that we don't really want this. But they didn't. They did a Black Ops 3 with jetpacks, and they did Infinite Warfare with jetpacks. That was the dark ages of Call of Duty, in my opinion. Now, he's saying that Modern Warfare could be the savior. Okay. I gotta disagree with this slightly as well. Sure, could it be the next best Call of Duty? I believe it could be. But I will say this. World War II was a step in the right direction. Lots of problems with the game. I thought the campaign was pretty good once again. It really portrayed World War II in a very well done, in my opinion. The multiplayer, I just wasn't really feeling it. I didn't think it was that great, but they went back to what made Call of Duty great. Battlefields, not skate parks and aquariums, fighting on actual gritty, war battlefields, right? That was a step in the right direction, as well as boots on the ground, which is what everybody wanted, okay? So that's where it started. Black Ops 4, in my opinion, is one of the best CODs made. I feel that the one thing it's lacking is, of course, a campaign. It's missing a campaign. A campaign with that game, I think it could have been one of the best. I know there were people that had issues with Black Ops 4, but in my opinion, that was the real push in the right direction. World War II got us started, kind of like Advanced Warfare, led us into the Dark Ages. World War II led us into what now I believe is going to be the golden days again of Call of Duty. leading us from World War II to Black Ops 4 and now into Modern Warfare. And I think we're going to be back to form with Modern Warfare, which I just do. I think that we got to give it some more time, obviously, but the hype is real. People seem to be enjoying the game tremendously at this point. So I got to say this, guys. Modern Warfare very well might be the next step for us in Call of Duty. It may be that next push, that next move into the light once again. Something that we've had not enough of in Call of Duty because of those dark ages of Call of Duty with really Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare, in my opinion. Now, he goes on to saying, restoring the good name of Call of Duty. First, let's talk about the basics. The game looks amazing. When playing each map, you can really tell the time and effort put in. From the puddles on the floor and cracks in the walls to the brake discs on the MET police car on Hackney Yard. Just little things like these give you a sense that developers do care about their game. The movement mechanics don't consist of flying soldiers with exosuits. No, it's better. It's much more creative. Boots on the ground. Surprising, I know, but wow, does it feel better than ever to be able to not have to shoot the enemy out of the sky. I know that Black Ops 4 was also boots on the ground, but it quickly grew stale as it just felt like a reskin of BO3. This feels fresh and engaging. Certain attachments weigh you down. You can lean around corners, mount guns on walls, and so much more. All of this together gives you so many variations of being able to play the game in different styles, and it feels good. Sound is a key aspect of the game, and coming from myself who is half deaf, MW is immersive. When I hear my claymore go off or shooting a shot from the AX-50 sniper, it all brings back nostalgia of using the PTRS-41 from World at War. Really is saying something. However, footsteps need to be fixed. Is it an enemy? Is it a teammate? Who knows, as everything sounds the same. Just a few small adjustments and it would be perfect. Here's the thing. I got to disagree with this Black Ops 4. I know a lot of people did not enjoy, a lot of people didn't enjoy Black Ops 4. A lot of people did enjoy it. To say it's a reskin of Black Ops 3 is insulting in my opinion, because Black Ops 3 was jetpacks, and that's completely different from what Black Ops 4 was. Now, I understand that people said that Black Ops 4 looked like, or it was originally going to be a jetpack game, but it's not. It's not a jetpack game. And to say it's a reskin of BO3, I mean, sure, some of the weapons may be the same. It is Black Ops, so I would assume some things would be a little bit the same. But I disagree with the notion that it's a reskin. I understand the specialists and all of that. I feel like they took what with Black Ops 3, they took what worked and they made it better in Black Ops 4. And I think they added a couple of new things to it. They focused solely on multiplayer. So I don't know. I didn't feel like it grew stale, really. I'll tell you what I thought grew stale was prestiging. I think prestiging has become something that's becoming increasingly stale because they don't really give you much for prestiging. There's not much reason to prestige. So that's something that I will certainly knock Call of Duty for. They need to make prestiging amazing again. They really do, because back in the day is when it was absolutely at its peak with like the 10th Prestige Medallion in Modern Warfare 2, and then in Black Ops 2 when you could get, the different cool skins on your guns like the diamond camo, and then you could also, of course, get that Prestige Master. And it was just really, those were the fun days of grinding. There was a reason to grind all the time. Now it just doesn't feel like there's much reason to, because the little emblems and such really don't, you can barely even see them, first of all, on screen, but it just doesn't mean as much as it used to. I gotta disagree, though, with this reskin of Black Ops 3. 100% disagree with that. I will agree with the footsteps. Not knowing if it's a teammate or an enemy, that's 100% true. That, of course, came from really the beta, of course. When people were playing the beta, they were saying that, and I agree with that the footsteps certainly did need to be fixed. And there's absolutely no doubt about that. Now, the next thing, guys, is will we ever have maps like MW2? The peak of the Call of Duty franchise for many was Modern Warfare 2 because it was a truly great online multiplayer experience. The main reason was because that it had the best maps of any Call of Duty game. This was because of the diversity in each maps and all the good spots there were, such as being able to get on top of high-rise or the multiple levels seen in Favela. Infinity Ward highlighted at E3 that this is something that they wanted to bring back to the maps in MW. Lots of different spots for players to find or secret ledges to stand on and so forth. Those beta maps, guys, Azir Cave, Grozna Raid, Hackney Yard, Gunrunner, although having only 4 maps available to us so far is a small slither of what's to come. The beta maps are all very fun to play and have various different ways to play them, which catering to all player types and multiple classes. My favorite so far is Hackney Yard, the smallest out of all 4, allows me to pull out the MP5 or MP7 and get right in amongst the action, especially in Domination, where the B flag is kept. You will never be short of a gunfight exchange. So, a couple of things here, guys, about the maps. One thing that I just want to mention, okay, the maps are cool, right, in Modern Warfare. I think that they're all great. Not all of them, but of course some of they are good. I like the palette, the color palette they used on Modern Warfare. It's kind of like a grayish, grindy, type, like almost sandy as well, color palette that they used in this game that reminds me of Modern Warfare or COD 4 as well as Modern Warfare 2. So I like that a lot. The maps are cool. Here's my only thing about it. And I've had this issue since gosh, it's been a while. I would say probably since Ghosts, in all seriousness. Probably since Ghosts. Why is it that so many of the maps nowadays are not just one word? I feel like the maps back in the day that were so iconic were maps that were only one word. Strike Down from Call of Duty Ghosts, which is what I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was Strike Down. You look at Favela, High Rise, Raid, Standoff, which is Standoff's probably my favorite map of all time with Call of Duty, but all these are one word. I just don't understand. Why don't you just call it Hackney or, Runner or Grozna or Cave or, I don't know. Like, I just feel like these Azir Cave or Grozna Raid, Hackney Yard, like, I don't know. Like, it's cool to a degree. If you had a couple maps like that, I just think there's something that's missing there. It should just be one word, easy to remember. It's like, oh yeah, I'll tell you what. Favela is certainly that's the best map for trick shotting, or Standoff. Man, that is the best competitive map, like period, on the competitive playlist. That's my biggest issue actually with the maps nowadays is just the names of them. Some of them are hard to pronounce too. I just had a trouble like pronouncing, some of the names on these. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing them right. So that's something that kind of bothers me a little bit about the maps. Obviously that's nitpicky about the names, but can we just go back to like the single name instead of like having 2 words? Can you just have a single word as a map? That would be absolutely awesome. Just come up with some creative stuff. That's what I think. New feature, new wrinkles. All the guns that were available in the beta are viable options when playing online. This is good because it allows there to be more variety on the battlefield. In previous titles, there has always been one good AR, one good SMG, and a sniper that every player will use. However, with the addition of Gunsmith, the possibilities and combinations are endless, from being able to make an AR and SMG, make guns slower and more accurate, or quicker and less accurate, or the perfect mix. This feature in the game is still something to be played around with into more depth. Nonetheless, is still amazing and looks very positive for the full release of the game, which obviously, guys, the game's already out. But, I gotta say, this is another thing that I kind of have trouble. It kind of bothers me. More does not necessarily mean better, as far as like with guns and stuff, having all these attachments. I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing. The basic simplistic things were what we all loved about Call of Duty way back in MW2, Black Ops 2, simplistic things, simple emblems and different icons that people coveted, things to grind towards, different, just regular, a few different attachments on each gun. Basic, simple things to understand were what we all loved. I mean, that's what we loved about it. And I just feel like there's so many different attachments on these guns. And not that that's a horrible thing or anything. It's just kind of unfortunate that it's becoming, they're trying to push so much more when it's like, hey, can we just have a little bit of some less and, kind of go from there? Maybe you can add things along the way, but it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting that. No more complicated perk system. Another reason this Call of Duty looks set to be great is they have done away with the ridiculous perk system of recent games. No more having to pick between having only a lethal grenade and no tactical, or 3 perk 1 slots and no perk 2 or 3. The golden era lives on with having to have one of each, like Modern Warfare 2. Players will have to pick 1 perk from each perk 1, 2, and 3 slot, as well as having 1 lethal and 1 tactical grenade. I feel as though this was the right direction to go in, because previously in COD, you may have had to run an extra perk just to be able to play the game and lose out on all the fun of using a stun grenade. I am certain that this list will grow as more is accessible in the upcoming open beta and full launch of the game too, allowing even more flexibility and playability. I agree with this overall. I don't think they need a complicated perk system. Make it easy. And I think the same should be said for the attachments on guns. Lastly, guys, will there be a letdown? The Mini-Mac controversy has been a whirlwind that is still running through the COD community. There is still plenty of scope for the massive 64-player game modes to go awry, but so far, Call of Duty Modern Warfare is looking like a remarkable game that should bring the good times back to the franchise. If they can include things like the MW2 range of calling cards and emblems that will let players show off their skills and achievements while maintaining the strong gameplay and depth of multiplayer game modes, then there is no reason this game can't find a stop high atop the list of best shooters, never mind COD games, of all time. Pump the brakes, my guy. No, I do think Modern Warfare is a great game, though, guys. In all reality. What I will say is this. Minimap controversy obviously was a big ordeal. There's been, things that people have been, reaching out to Infinity Ward about in Activision saying, hey, can you change these things? We want these things changed. Will there be a letdown, though? Look, guys, microtransactions and, things of that nature, I think, are also things that may let us down somewhat. But even more so than microtransactions, I just think the game itself, like the rank up systems, the, all of those things, the different items that you can earnable items, I think, is very important. Earnable items versus that you can buy inside of a loot box or inside of a microtransaction are two completely different things. I don't know if there's going to be a letdown. I don't know. I hope not. I hope there's not. I mean, all of us understand that these developers and the publishers need to make money, right? So microtransactions are something that we just have to accept, right? On top of that, though, I just feel that, please, I just want things to be fair in a way in which where, there's earnable items that you have to earn. You can't buy them. And then there's things that you can just buy that are other like cosmetic-based items. Those are the things that I think made the community so great back in the day, was just earning stuff, earning that 10th Prestige medallion. It was so heavily and highly coveted that people went into botted lobbies. They boosted up to get that 10th Prestige medallion and have get everything unlocked and such because it was so sick. And those were the days. Those were awesome. And I would love to see those days return, but just not the hacking, obviously. I want to see people actually have to earn the stuff that they get in-game. But let me know what you guys think about that. I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What do you guys think about all of this? The rise, the fall, and what I believe is the resurrection of Call of Duty. Let me know what you guys think about that.